Leaders speak differently than the average individual contributor. We're going to look at 4 ways that leaders talk differently. I'm Alex Lyon, and I'm here to provide communication tips to help you increase your impact and lead your teams with more excellence. Today we're talking about how leaders communicate. And we're going to talk about 4 ways that leaders speak differently than the average employee or average member of an organization. The first way is that leaders are really concise. They figure out what they want to say, and they say it in about 1 or 2 sentences. The advantage to this is that, first of all, it sounds really confident. When you're able to express yourself really clearly like that, it sounds like, wow, they really know what they think. The second advantage is that when they say something concrete, it's much more likely to land and people are able to understand it and then react to it, hopefully positively, but at least they're given something concrete that they can hear and then respond to. So you want to make sure you're concise. The second thing is that leaders are able to speak outside of their own area of expertise, and they're able to articulate the value of other areas of expertise. For example, let's say they come out of an IT background, that's how they rose up. They're able to look at operations, at accounting, at marketing and engineering and so forth, and they're able to say exactly what those other areas contribute. And that's a really powerful thing. A lot of times we get pegged as individual contributors and we get pegged as closed-minded because we start making fun of even other areas, labeling, coming up with weird nicknames. It's like a little internal competition or turf war that different departments develop with others. But leaders don't tend to do that. They're able to actually, first of all, notice and learn about the other areas, and then even speak about the good value that those other areas contribute. And they are valuable. If they weren't valuable, they wouldn't be part of the organization. The third thing that leaders do differently when they speak is that they are able to speak a level above departments. So they talk about the coordination between and among departments. They talk about strategy and how those different departments are moving in the same direction toward the same goals. I'll use a metaphor of a band, a rock band. A little personal disclosure, I used to be in rock bands in high school and college, so I almost always want to go there with my analogies. Oftentimes when you're recording in the studio, you have a drummer, and that drummer wants the drums to be the loudest, and the guitar player wants the guitar to be the loudest, and the bass player wants the bass to be the loudest. That's just natural because that's their area of expertise. So what groups do is they bring in a producer who is there to help craft the overall song, because a producer is going to listen to that song the way someone else might listen to it. Not the way a guitar player would listen to it or a drummer, but how the average person who's listening to music will bring that in. And that's what leaders do. They step above those individual departments, and they're talking about the overall coordination of those different efforts. And the fourth way is that leaders are able to connect just about every single project or task that's being done to the overall business, to the overall enterprise, to the goals that that organization is trying to reach. So it doesn't matter what it is, they see how it moves the ball forward in a more general sense, and they're able to spell that out for you. And they don't always do it, in fact, they almost never do it by connecting it to some cheesy, overworked vision statement. They're going to talk about that task in relation to the real concrete goals that everybody hopefully understands. They're going to put it in plain language. If you are able to talk about the business, not just your area, now you're sounding like a leader. And by the way, when I say the phrase business, talk about the business, I'm not talking about just for-profit organizations. If you're in a nonprofit or healthcare, you're talking about the overall goals of the organization, the things that everybody is pushing toward in general, how your organization is positioned in the market against others, and so forth. So those are the 4 ways that leaders speak differently than individual contributors. I hope that you see it's not just a way of talking, but there's a mindset underneath that way of talking that helps them speak that way. So it's a way of thinking and a way of communicating. It's one of the reasons, by the way, I created Communication Coach. I call people like you, people who are watching, rising leaders. Maybe you're a team leader, frontline supervisor, frontline manager, and you're trying to increase your communication skills so that you can lead your teams with more excellence. That's why the channel is here. So maybe you have thought of or have heard over the years different ways that you've noticed that leaders communicate and how they come across in their own way that distinguishes them from the average person. I encourage you, if that's the case, put your own comments and questions and thoughts below, your own opinions on the 4 that I listed here as well. And if you're interested in ongoing content in this kind of topic, then I encourage you, if you haven't yet, to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and start tuning in. So thanks, God bless, and I hope you get to use these tips at your very next opportunity.